In this video, I'm going to share with you facts that nobody told you about above ground pools. Now, I have been a long-time owner of two separate above ground pools at my house. I've spent quite a lot of time working on them and learned quite a few things over the years. So I'm going to share with you some helpful things for you before you get your own above ground pool. First of all, you can find really good used pools online. My first above ground pool was found in a classified newspaper ad. This was years ago, before Facebook Marketplace and those things were so common. So I looked in the classified ads in my local newspaper. I found an advertisement. My wife and I drove out, and there was this huge above ground pool when my son was real little, and we ended up cutting a deal with the guy, $600 down and $600 when he delivered it to my house. And we got years and years of excellent use from that pool. Paid $1,200 for the pool. Now you got to realize that I did have to buy my own filtration system. Eventually that one was not that good, I think, but so there is going to be other money that you will spend, but you can get really good used pools online. Now my second pool I've had probably 5 years or less now, and I paid only $1,000 for this. This was a 24-foot pool. It's a little bit deeper. It's a 4.5 feet deep. I purchased it from an older couple. The wife told me that she was watching all of her husband's grandchildren all summer long, and she didn't want to have to be responsible for them to watch them in another summer. So that's why she wanted to get rid of it. So the pool system, only used for one season, really good shape, and I went ahead and made that purchase. So you can get a decent secondhand pool, and you can also get your family and friends to help you set your pool up. Now, setting up the pool is a big job, but you don't have to pay retail pool companies $5,000 or more for your new pool, and maybe $1,000 for somebody to set the pool up. It is a big job, but you can do it yourself, and you can definitely save money. The next thing I want to talk about is that you should never use a salt system for a metal pool. Now, that second pool that I bought, the man told me that he had a salt water system, and I had only known chlorine system with my original pool, and I had my original pool for a good 12 years or so, 15 years, something like that. It was well over 10 years, and it does get cumbersome after a while, buying chlorine all the time and the chemicals and things like that. So I was excited about the salt system. I didn't know about it. I heard that they were less maintenance, and I just assumed that the pool that he had purchased was designed for a salt system. However, I was sadly mistaken. So after I got my new pool set up, the second pool that I've owned, after I got it set up and I was using the salt water for it, for the first season or so, everything went great, and it was low maintenance. Throw the bag of salt in, and the cells convert the salt to chlorine, and so everything was going great. However, after about the second to third season, I started noticing little bits of rust that were forming on the railings on my pool above the water level. And eventually it became a huge problem. You can see some pictures here of the railing. This one's really not that bad right there to the right, but right here, the holes in here. You can see some of my other videos on my my YouTube channel where I have railings that are rusted, and over a period of time I've actually used money from my YouTube channel to help pay for railing replacement. So the railing replacement on my above ground pool that I have right now is about $50 a piece, and so every once in a while I'll place an order for 2 or 3 railings and a couple of these railing caps here that go underneath. But if you want to, you can watch this video here. It'll be linked in the description, and I'll go through and I'll show you all of the damage, or a lot of the damage, the little pieces of metal falling in from the side onto the inside of my pool. A big problem. All right, so plastic pools that are made for a salt system will work for you. Those are called resin pools. But here's another thing to keep in mind, though. If you have a rusting pool that can give way, not only is it going to be costly for you, it's going to damage your pool, and you're going to lose your investment in your pool, but also it could even be dangerous. Okay, the pool lady in my local pool store here in my local town here, she told me a story of people that did not realize that their pool was rusting away from the salt, and it actually, they had their pool, they didn't have that big of a backyard, and the pool, when it gave way, all of the water rushed out of the pool, and some of it ended up coming through their back door into their house and caused problems inside their house. So you think about that. If your kids were in the pool and all of a sudden the pool just gave way and all of this water just rushed out, so that would be a big problem. So you want to make sure that your pool is designed for a saltwater system. Unfortunately, not all pool stores will tell you exactly what you need to know. They're going to sell you a saltwater system and tell you, oh, it'll be fine, and you'll set it up and it'll be fine for a while, but then eventually, I promise you, you're going to have problems. So a resin pool is basically a hard plastic pool. Any steel on your pool, if you use a saltwater system, any steel is going to eventually begin to corrode. All right, so here's just an example. So a resin pool, essentially talking about hard plastic, and so that would be the only thing that would really work with a saltwater system. So be careful about that, okay? And it is a serious problem. I did not take it seriously myself. My pool lady at my pool store even kind of warned me about using salt in my above ground pool, but I was, just so tired of buying chlorine. I was thinking, oh, she just wants me to buy more chlorine or something like that. But that is not the case. It is not the case. It is definitely a problem, and the money that I've saved from using a saltwater system for those several years, I've had to pay back in buying all those railings to help to replace my pool, right? All right, so here is my video on how to level a ground for a pool. So I'm gonna have a link in the description. This is one of the most popular videos on YouTube for this term. If you search how to level the ground for a pool, you're going to find my video here. And basically, this is, you can see me, this is after I took down my first pool and was in the process of setting up my second pool. This is before I got set up my second pool. I even talk about the saltwater system and how I was excited to get that. Boy, was that a mistake, right? But anyway, your ground must be level, and there's all kind of there's other videos on YouTube where they scrape out the ground, and they get little mini bulldozer things to scrape out the ground, and we didn't do any of that. What we did when we took down our first pool, we had an area that we had a dump truck load of sand dumped in our yard to try to put our original pool, which was like a Walmart pool. Okay, so we used that same area, and when we took down the first pool, we had, the grass wasn't grown there. So, but what we did, we got this board and we put this level on it and pulled it around with a string, pushed down, added sand to the spots that were maybe not as level as they needed to be. And so you can see in the video how I describe that. This is what we did. Of course, I did have the beginning of a good spot to put it already, but if your ground is not level, then you're going to end up with something like this. And I found this picture online here. You can see how this above ground pool, you can see how there's extra space over here to the left, and on the right hand side you can see how the water's up to the edge here, and that's because this ground here where this above ground pool is placed is not level. So you can end up with something like that. We actually had that just a little bit on our first pool, but it wasn't, it didn't really cause a problem. And when my kids were younger, it was actually a little bit less water on that side of the pool where they could stand up a little easier when they were smaller and younger. But you really, it's really not ideal, and you definitely want to try to get your ground level for your pool. So these are the things that I have learned from my time as an above ground pool owner, and these are some of the most important things. So I hope you found this helpful. And again, all of my videos for above ground pools that I've made over the last several pool seasons, those will be linked in the description. And if you liked this video and you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to subscribe for more pool videos as I make them, that would be great too. All right, thanks for watching.